All right, it says we're live. For people watching the recording, hang out for a minute while we do some housekeeping, share some links, and give the YouTube software some time to load. There we go. Got the link. All right, welcome everyone. Today is Wednesday, May 10th, 2023. I am Chris Troutner. I helped found the PSF. I also run fullstack.cash, which provides cloud services and consulting for Bitcoin Cash infrastructure. I'll go ahead and skip the introduction since most of the people attending on the Zoom are doing so live, but with cell phones. But we've got Aaron Cool Cleaner and Aaron Shoemaker and a new attendee, Jan. And Stoyan, who is a regular attendee, is at a conference, so he couldn't make it today. This is going to be a pretty short meeting today. As always, our agendas are on GitHub under the Permissionless Software Foundation GitHub group in a repository called TSC for Technical Steering Committee. And they are filed as issues. So this is today's agenda number 54. The scope of our meetings cover these areas: the cache stack, the pay-to-write database, the dexes, our governance documents, and the CoinJoin project. So let's dive right in here and get through here. I've got a governance update, and for those attending the Zoom call, feel free to interrupt me at any time if you have questions. Really appreciate that. Otherwise, I'll just rattle on and get through this stuff. On our documentation site for cachestack.info, I added a new section for the local backend for IPFS BCH wallet consumer. This is one of the videos that had been missing for a long time. And this video shows you how to install the wallet consumer software and then control it with the PSF BCH wallet CLI application. So for people who are coming to the cache stack who identify as front-end developers, this local backend is the only backend software you have to run. What it does is it sets up a local REST API for your front end to talk to, and then it pipes those requests over IPFS to a global backend. And so this lets you write front-end applications and essentially simulate or communicate with a remote global backend without having to run all that infrastructure locally. And this is also how, say, wallet.fullstack.cash works, where when you're using it, it's calling one of these local backends in the cloud, which is then reaching out to one of the global backends on the network. So this is a pretty critical piece of information. It was definitely like a piece of the puzzle that had been missing for a long time, this video in particular. So hopefully that will help people adopt this software, particularly front-end developers, and get them over the hump for creating blockchain-based applications. Another big update that is just in the last couple days is I created this 4-part video series on how to build an e-commerce site. And this was inspired by Aaron over at Bitcoin Creations. He's working on the Bitcoin payment module, the hardware stuff. And he pinged me a while ago. I wanted to buy one of his relays. And he said, hey, I'll give you one if you can build me an app, because I want to be able to sell these for Bitcoin Cash online. I just want a very simple one-product website. And I haven't really found anything that fits the bill. Everything requires like some sort of payment processor or some sort of bank account. And he just wanted a very simple single-page app that sells a single product for Bitcoin Cash. So that's what this does. Let me, I've got links here to the YouTube videos if anybody wants to dig into that, but this is what it looks like. It's just one single page app. You can access it at merchant.cachestack.info. I've got a blue widget here for 5 cents, and you can just and then I'll give a little peek here. This is the back end. This is the REST API part of it running on a backend server. Any orders that are abandoned get deleted after 24 hours. So that's why this is showing 0 orders. And so if I just put in an email and a name and a shipping address and a quantity, this will submit the order to that backend, and we'll see it come in here. And what it does is the backend generates a Bitcoin Cash address and calculates the amount of Bitcoin Cash for that fiat amount. So 5 cents today at this moment translates to approximately 42,000 Satoshis. And let me just bring up my Bitcoin Cash wallet to pay for this. But I can copy that Bitcoin Cash address. I'll just give that 1 minute to come up. Let's see. Why is that taking so long? There we go. It's almost there. But essentially, if we look at the back end, every few seconds, this front end will check. You'll see this animation here at the bottom. It'll check to see if the payment has been processed. And then every 2 minutes on the back end, it's looking at the new orders and looking to see if they've been paid. So let's go ahead and pay this. And then we'll give that a couple minutes to process.
I gotta say, this is pretty cool. I just got a little time to look over it this week, and I thought it was really neat.
Nice. Well, I mean, Aaron was right in the sense that there isn't really a good solution for this. So any developers out there who are comfortable with React and Node.js, this is a very simple turnkey way to sell anything for Bitcoin Cash.
So is it generating an HD wallet, like a different index every time? Or how's that? I guess I haven't looked into it too much.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. Every order has a unique Bitcoin Cash address associated with it, and that address comes from an HD wallet. So here it said there's one order. It's processing the order right now, and that's really good because I want to answer your question a little deeper here once it finishes processing. So right now what it's doing is it's taking that order information, including the private key that has the customer funds, and it's putting that all in a message, encrypting it, uploading it to the PayToWrite database, and sending an end-to-end encrypted message to the merchant. And
oh, nice.
This should pop up here in a minute to let us know that the order has been processed. But what it ends up doing is it sends the merchant the private key in the encrypted message. And so in order for the merchant to retrieve the fund from the customer, they just sweep the private key like they would a paper wallet. And so it's neat in that it leverages this HD wallet capability in the sense that it can generate an unlimited number of Bitcoin Cash addresses for each product, and to uniquely identify the product and the customer. But you don't have to worry about the funds sort of getting lost on some key in this like infinite keychain. So that's kind of a nice feature.
Wow, yeah, this is a different way to approach that. I mean, I really think, this way, the XPub key is held by you, so the next one, even the individual who's selling the thing, wouldn't have any idea of the rest of the keys, the addresses. Boy, that's a new and interesting way to handle that. That's really cool.
Yeah, one reason I did it this way was to eliminate the need for email. So email is optional.
Right.
So if I go to see, message check. So check for my end-to-end encrypted messages. So there, the payments detected. I just want to show you guys what these messages look like. Just so you can see. And then there's a third piece of software which is optional, and I covered in the fourth video, which is an email notifier. So you can set this up and you can run it separate, like you could run it on your own computer, and it'll monitor your Bitcoin Cash address for these new messages and then send you an email alert. So you don't have to like manually check for these things. You can have an automated piece of software, watch for new orders, and then send you an email alert when it comes in. But yeah, so this is the information that came through in the encrypted message. So I've got a reference to the database entry if I actually want to go look at the database entry. I've got the private key that I can sweep with my wallet to retrieve the funds. And then I've got the email, shipping name, shipping address, quantity for the customers. So as a merchant, I have everything I need, including the funds in order to complete the sale.
Wow, I love this. This is a very unique way of doing it, and boy, super flexible then too.
Yeah. It's a little interesting. The one thing I really don't like about this process is the speed. You can see it that took a couple minutes for everything to go through, and that's a good segue to the rest of the agenda. So anyways, there's links here for the YouTube videos. This uses React for the front end and it uses Node.js for the back end. Very standard tool set that we're all familiar with here at the PSF. So I'm hoping more people will build sites using these. I'm looking forward to, in our last meeting we talked about maybe doing some embedded devices. So I still want to build one of those, and then I can put it up for sale using this template. But this brings me back around to how slow that process was, and what was really slowing that process down was the write to the pay to write database. So that's what I'm going to focus on next. I've been thinking about this idea of so the way you write to the pay to write database, which is covered at p2wdb.com, pay to write database.com, goes into detail on all this. But the way you write to the pay to write database is proof of burn. So it's essentially a transaction ID, proving that you burned a certain quantity of PSF tokens, and that's your ticket to write to the pay to write database. And so this feature I'm going to add is a pre-burn where it'll be optional. You can turn it on and it'll be part of the NPM library, where it will have 3 to 5 tickets, pre-burned proofs of burn. So it'll sort of do what's slowing the process down is it's trying to do this burn on the fly, like as you request it. And there's a lot of back and forth and verification and encryption going on there. And so if it had just like 3 to 5 pre-burned proofs of burn on hand, then that process would be eliminated completely in terms of the time it takes when the customer is actually trying to do something. So that's going to be the next big feature upgrade, and this is going to really improve all of our software across the board, because like the NFT creator is slow because of this reason. Like ordering stuff is slow for this reason. Sending an end-to-end encrypted message is slow for this reason. So we're starting to really rely on this pay-to-write database to move data around all of our software. So solving this one problem, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be actually an easy feature to do now that I've looked into it and thought about it. So I'm really excited to do this. I think it's just going to make everything work better.
Yeah, and it's not like, I mean, you're paying forward, but you're paying forward a few cents. It's not like you're, 3 to 5 cents. It's not like, okay, well, I got to invest, $40. This is the kind of thing that's like, yeah, of course I can put something to make things fast. I can put 5 cents in ahead of time. That's great. So, I mean, I appreciate the fact that you're thinking how to make it faster, but also keeping it low enough to where even people that don't have a lot to put in can still have fast activity happen.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's the thinking. We're at a point where we're at a level of maturity with our products where we're out of prototype phase. we're well into the production phase, and now I'm constantly looking for, okay, what's the pain point? What's the most painful part of this whole process? And I keep coming back to this. So this is an itch I've been wanting to scratch for a while. There's just been other things that have been more demanding up to this point. So continuing on the theme of future work and future focus, once that's done, I expect that to actually be pretty fast and easy thing to fix now that I've had a chance to think about it and actually identified the real root cause of that slowdown. The next thing after that is these IPFS service metrics. This is an automated system that twice a day will go out to the IPFS network and see how many cache stacks are running, test them for liveness, look to see how many pay-to-write databases are running and available to access. And then it'll generate a report and publish that report to the pay-to-write database. And this will be the foundation that we'll use to reward infrastructure providers. And also it'll just let us as a group monitor our health and track our growth. If we are growing or not growing, like how many users are we using? An extension to this that I'll get to at some point in the future is I'm going to have BCH API. It'll have a new REST API. I don't have this in the agenda because it's further on down the road, but it's within the scope of this service metrics, where it'll analyze its own logs and report sort of how many API calls it's had in the last 24 hours. And that'll become part of this service log so that we can actually track the number of API calls, and we'll be able to see growth or not growth of our network in terms of usage. If we should see the number of API requests increase as more people use PSF software. And
yeah,
then
I love to see that, because it's difficult to gauge success without some sort of measurement, and it'd be way better to have it be something public rather than just something hidden. So yeah, I appreciate the fact that you're looking at doing that and building that into it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been bugging me too, because like the old saying goes, that which is measured is managed. And we have not been measuring it, and we have not been managing our growth. And so I'd like to get us into a phase, like, I think our software is at a level of maturity where, I mean, I'm excited because I'm starting to build these user-facing applications like this e-commerce store and local trade list. I really want to get back to that website and take it beyond just the prototype that it is now. But yeah, it needs to be optimized. Doing those things has shown a light on our pain points, which is slow database access and the fact that we're not monitoring our network usage. And if we don't do that, that could lead to, I mean, number one, we don't know if we're growing or not, and it's good to know if we're growing or not. And number two, if we do end up getting like hockey stick growth, we might not even know that that's happening, and things would slow down and we wouldn't even really know why. And I kind of suspect that more people are using the network, especially because I've been reaching out to the Argentina channel and just devs and other sort of side channels. And I'm definitely starting to see new people come to the channels and ask questions. And that's a hint that there's more network traffic. And I would know that if we were monitoring it and reporting on it.
Yeah, excellent. I love the fact I'm not on the Argentina channels or anything, but it's nice to see that you're reaching out to other people that need a low cost pathway to do blockchain integration, and you're certainly making that available.
Yeah, I am just completely fascinated. I mean, we talked about this during the last meeting, but yeah, I'm just completely fascinated about what's going on down there. I think it's a blueprint for what I expect the U.S. to be in like 5 years. There's a lot of, I've been hearing more and more from economists that like there's no way out from there's no way out from where the US is financially without massive inflation. Like that's the only way out. And so Argentina is a pretty good blueprint for what a country going through inflation looks like. And also a country who does not pay much attention to what their government officials say. A lot of people in the US still pay a lot of attention to what government officials say. And in Argentina, they don't. They completely disregard their government. And everybody has to move forward with, however they can, despite the government. And so this is why this merchant software I think is really cool, because it lets anybody sell anything, and also the fact that it doesn't require email. Like, email is a choke point. It's a
Right.
point of control.
Right.
It can be taken away from you, not easily, but it is possible. And so the fact that this can be done without email, I think, is kind of a big advantage. And I have been thinking, as I think through these things, I think through the lens of an Argentinian. Like if I was in Argentina, how would I go about, just conducting business in this environment? And then I actually get on the Argentina channel and confirm those ideas with real Argentinians.
Right. We can confirm it in our own head, but that doesn't mean it's real, right? You actually have to talk to real Argentines and see what they're actually doing, and throw out a real idea and have probably back and forth, rather than one tweet that that gets a couple of likes and a comment back. You actually have to have back and forth to understand it better. So I'm glad you're really digging into that.
Yeah, and same thing with Venezuela. I try and talk with Venezuelans as much as possible, and that's an even more extreme example than Argentina.
Right. Well, it's talking about the US thing. I mean, it looks like there's not a lot of options except probably them forcing down a CDBC so that they can force some sort of negative interest rate on people. Looking at how, if no one had cash, then they have the ability to do so. I mean, it just feels like that's that final piece of control that they actually need to be able to do it. So I mean, to me, that seems like a really scary totalitarian coin type of world that we need escape from.
Yeah, that's an interesting take, because I kind of see that's probably where the US will go. They'll probably, I suspect, and this is all speculation, so feel free to disagree with me, anybody. But because we're more technologically advanced, I think we'll go the China CBDC route, where they can solve a lot of these problems by giving, boomers a different monetary framework than Zoomers. And
Right.
And so they can sort of do this fine-grained control of the financial system. Whereas in Argentina, they're just starting to use Chinese yuan and other currencies and wean themselves off of the dollar. And that's what a lot of countries are in the process of doing in order to mitigate these issues with the US dollar, because they don't have enough money or clout really to launch a CBDC. It's like
Right.
Nigeria, I think it's Nigeria that just has this completely failed CBDC that every citizen refuses to use, in favor of cryptocurrency. Like, I would expect the same thing to happen in Argentina if they tried to force a CBDC.
Boy, that'd be nice if that happened here, but I figure they're going to start doing a UBI, right? They're going to be some sort of
Right.
UBI that's going to come along. And so it's going to hey, you're going to have free money, but you have to start using it. Well, who's going to say no? I mean, most everyone is going to go, yeah, of course I'll take that.
Yeah, free money. Yeah, I'll take free money. I'll use it.
And so it's going to force it. Yeah. Well, yeah, that'd be the ideal thing, right? But it feels like it's there's a simple way to get people to use it, and this is exactly that.
Yeah. And another really important thing, since we're on this topic, that I see is, both for this site that can sell products for Bitcoin Cash, but also local trade list, is the thing that really scared me during COVID was that people were denied access to grocery stores. And in that case, it was like for not being vaccinated, but they could pick anything. Like, it could be any arbitrary decision. And just deny you access to a grocery store, or deny your payment processor from being able to be used in a grocery store. That's the same thing. Same end result. And so anybody needs to come up with a solution to prevent the government from being able to do that. And so one solution would be like local trade list, where someone who does have, the vaccine or whatever the next thing is, can go to the grocery store and buy groceries and then sell those groceries to their local neighbors who do not, meet the government criteria to access a grocery store. You see that I've seen that in Venezuela a little bit, where only certain people with certain statuses can get certain things. And so then you see this natural black market form where those people who can get access to the special thing can then add a premium and sell it to the people who don't have those special accesses. And that's just a totally normal, natural way for things to happen. But it's high friction, and because there's no advertising, you don't know if you can trust the person. You're probably going to get scammed. So if we can introduce software and crypto tools to take this natural phenomenon and just make it a little less friction and a lot more safe, then I think we're just sort of leaning into the natural evolution of economics anyways.
The nice thing about that too is it does bring about more, even if that doesn't happen quickly, just building communities of local people that work together is not a negative. That's a positive anyway. So even if that wasn't forced upon you, to have that capability is a positive for any local area to have this capability.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Okay, there's just one last thing on the agenda here. Finally, like after I kind of knock these two things out, I want to focus on IPFS Cord. That is sort of this behind the scenes engine that is powering a lot of like the whole cache stack and the pay to write database. It's all built on top of IPFS Cord. And when I built this, I had never seen anybody do anything like this before in terms of creating on the fly mesh networks over IPFS that then work together to pass messages around. And this is how we are able to have this highly censorship resistant, essentially REST API for that is the cache stack. And so I'm kind of considering, like, we're about to enter like a new phase in that, like, we've proven that this technology works, and now we need to make it better in the sense that all of the traffic going across is not optimized. It's like JSON, and it's not like compressed or anything. It's just like ASCII string. I mean, it's encrypted, but it's not like, if it was serialized into binary data, it would be like 1/10 of the size that it is right now. And so as our network grows, we're going to need to optimize in this way just to scale. And so up to this point, a lot of what's happening there with the IPFS Cord library, it was built for easy debugging so that when there's a problem, I could get in there and see exactly what's happening. But it's been running great the last year. And now it's time to like start to focus on optimization. So that's the next thing I want to start focusing on. There's also two libraries. That's another issue. Is there's one that works with the current version of IPFS and is integrated into IPFS service provider and the cache stack and stuff. But then there's an older version that's forced to stay old because it's for the pay to write database, and the pay to write database is limited by OrbitDB, which regularly falls behind the most recent version of IPFS. So that's part of the headache of managing and working with IPFS is because these other libraries that we also depend on aren't always kept up to date. And so that's another headache that needs to be managed. So looking forward to that. So anyways, I'm kind of just getting my sort of summer focus in place for that. And that's pretty much the agenda. Like I said, I think it's a pretty short meeting today. Everybody seems to be out of the office except for myself, but it's good. It's great weather. Glad to see you're out there enjoying the weather, Aaron, and all the Aarons are out enjoying the weather today.
So today I'm actually out in Boston. It is a crazy day here. This is the Charles River right there. So it's kind of a wild to have it be so nice so quickly, and like these days where there's no clouds in the sky. So glad to be a part of it. I'm still glad I could join. Glad that there's enough cell service here to be able to continue to take part.
Yeah. Well, and don't forget, it's hard to park the car and have a yard.
It's true. It's very difficult. Yeah, thanks, man.
All right,
Well,
well,
I mean, I appreciate all the work you've done on that, and I totally agree. I mean, some of these things have just worked extremely well, over the past few years without optimization, and as we watch this type growth happen, because, keeping track of the stats and stuff, we're going to see the need to do the optimization, like you're talking about. I love the fact that you've already gone through this with Bitcoin.com and saw, like, at some point in time, as things happen, we're seeing BTC go through a major increase in fees, right? So $20 is the median, at least yesterday. I didn't check today. The median transaction cost was $20, not the average, the median, which is the higher than that for the average cost. So it is really interesting to see, since BTC or BCH still is, 10th of a cent or something, how these things end up playing out. So interesting.
yeah. Well, yeah, Jerry was putting in the Zoom comments here. He was asking about BRC20 and ordinals. I haven't really been following it, other than my understanding of what's happening is that the BTC network is flooded with all these transactions, and the mempool holds transactions until they get confirmed in a block. And so the mempool has a 1 gigabyte limit, and so it got past that limit. And what happens, and this doesn't, I don't know if it's ever happened. Like if it has, it doesn't happen very often. But the mempool actually starts evicting transactions, essentially starts deleting transactions that are waiting to be confirmed. And so in that sense, I think the system is working as it's designed. Like if anything, they should just lower the mempool to like 100 megabytes. And then, that doesn't do anything for the fees. This pumps up all the fees. So only the transactions willing to pay a high fee, like, stay in the mempool. The ones with the low transaction fees get evicted, and they're essentially canceled. And so you'd have to resubmit it.
Yeah, looks like it's gone up a little bit. I'm looking at I don't even know how to say his name, Joho's BTC transaction or mempool transaction, and yesterday it was up at 400 V bytes per. Anyway, and it was like $20. It's gone down a little bit, maybe down 10% or 8% or something. So yeah, things are happening here in this space.
Oh, this is interesting. I didn't know. Thank you for the info, Jerry. Apparently, when you create a BRC20 token as an ordinal, there's 4 parameters. There's a protocol, operation, ticker, and amount, and apparently they're putting all that information into a TXT file, and then that gets written to the blockchain. And then I know that there's some sort of taproot hack that they're using, which is reducing the fees for these submissions. And I also like Jerry's other comment that there's always bartering with whiskey, like in the early days of Pennsylvania. Yeah, exactly. That's
Exactly. There's always an analog hole, right? There's always an analog hole to figure out how to do something, outside of digital, if that's the way it happens.
Yeah, that's what I really liked about when I was in Mexico. Just, it was such a shocker as an American. Like, we're so used to standard prices, and you go to like a business to get your products, and like everything, all that goes out the window in Mexico. It's just like everybody has everything's negotiable, and everybody just works together to meet one another's needs. And I like that. I like that attitude. I think America has really atrophied from its sense of community, and I'd like to restore that.
Well, you're working on it. You're making cool software to do it.
Yeah, trying. That's the goal. Yeah, I know. I want, like we talked about in our last meeting. I'm hoping to start here on this little island where I'm at with the local currency, and build something that we can use as a blueprint for other communities that we could export around the world. Sahid on YouTube had a question. He saw my Twitter post about looking for full-time work, and he's asking if I'm going to chill a bit on the PSF. Um, yes and no. I'm not. I mean, I'm going full steam ahead until I get full time employment. If I get full time employment, I might end up getting part time employment. But if I get full time employment, I'll be able to use my salary to fund developers like Daniel to work on PSF initiatives and make up for my lack of time spent on those initiatives. So that's one reason. That's one reason. Like I need more money for certain life events that have happened. But while I'm fulfilling that goal, I'll also be able to continue to tap into our network of South American developers to continue work in my stead. So just wanted to put that out there. I think other people have been asking themselves the same thing. If I go get a full-time job, and am I going to be pumping the brakes on PSF stuff? And I don't think that's going to be the case. This is more of a lifestyle for me than a job. So I'll keep, or a hobby, I guess. I'll keep working on it.
Yeah, it's the thing we care about. I mean, it doesn't. The rest of all that stuff. This is what we feel like is sort of life's work, and I sort of feel the same way.
Nice. Yeah. Kindred soul there, Aaron. Let's see what else is going on in the world. Yeah, just the carnage with BTC. That seems to be the talk of the town. Bitcoin Cash network upgrade is on the 15th. I'm actually going to be
15th, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be upgrading all the infrastructure this afternoon for all of the full stack.cash clients, updating the full nodes. And
Yeah,
I expect that to go through without an issue. I'm really looking forward to cash tokens hitting mainnet. I mean, it's just
right.
it's hit a frenzy in the Telegram channel. So I'm really excited to see all of these testnet efforts spill out onto the mainnet and just see what happens. Like I am totally open. I mean, I know I've been kind of pessimistic on cash tokens in the past, but I'm totally open to having my mind changed and seeing what happens.
Well, I listened to the Bitcoin Cash podcast. Jason was on, Jason, the guy who kind of coded most of the cash tokens stuff, and really kind of gave his history as to why he cares about it, and really started with he was at BitPay and left there when he started really getting into what do they call it? Basically, where you guess things and you put money in. I can't remember what he was talking, what he called it, but it was really interesting, his history as to why he wanted to build this. And I feel like his really strong belief in making something like this simple, easy to use, flexible, scriptable. So I'm feeling better about it. So I'm glad we got a chance to talk about it a little bit, at least in this meeting, because I feel like this big upgrade is going to be helpful in making these arguments.
Yeah. Well, I feel really good about it in the sense that we have no skin in the game. Like none of our software is going to be affected by any of these changes. And we can wait and see, how it plays out. Because Jerry pointed out, it's like there's a lot of undocumented intricacies. And I'm seeing that in the Telegram channels now too. Like now that more devs are paying attention to it, there's a lot more questions about like, why are we doing this thing this way? And how do I do this thing? And why is this thing not working? And so there's just a lot of that, and that's to be expected. And it'll be interesting to see if on the other side of this network upgrade, if the tokens just work flawlessly, or if there is like, some serious potholes that people didn't see beforehand. And either way, it doesn't affect us. But it'll be interesting to see.
So I always think of this as the infatuation, sort of technical infatuation, where you fill in all the things you don't know with positives, which aren't real, right? I mean, just because you just go, well, I don't know, so it must be a positive thing similar to what we do. So making sure we don't get in that trap to say, yes, there's going to be good stuff, but we don't know all the things we don't know. And assuming they're bad is also not proper. We just they have to leave in a bunch of things that we don't know, and we'll learn that as we go. So I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad we're not at risk of anything running right now, but I'd love to see us, look at that, more in the future. Yeah.
Well said. Good point. Yeah. I wonder, there's got to be a word for that sort of like when you're being driven by hype and like, you don't really know positive or negative, you're just very excited about something. and you kind of let that drive your decision making, which is not, it could end badly or it could end well, and you just really don't know.
Well, one example of that would be with the smart VCH is, you just fill in the fact that we don't know what's going to happen with that bridge with positives, when that actually wasn't the case. The bridge was a risk and we just left it. We don't know what we don't know what we don't know. And so we'll see as we go, but I'm certainly positive on that as well.
Jerry says it sounds like we're talking about the whole of Ethereum development.
The whole of, right? Yeah, there's been crashes and burns, and there's been positives. And yeah, boy, that's a great point, Jerry.
Yeah, I guess that's life in the crypto world. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Appreciate everybody who's watching on YouTube and is joining the Zoom call, and appreciate the Aarons and Jan and Jerry for making some time out of your day. And yeah, I'll see you guys all on the PSF Telegram channel. Let's keep the conversation going.
Rock on, man. Thanks.
Cheers.
See you, everybody.